Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Fogging Dots, a Sudoku puzzle that wouldn't surprise you if I say it's all about fog and dots, and I guess dots in this particular case is probably going to be Kropke dots. What you see here is Sleuth investigating some sort of crime scene, and for some reason there is lots of fog covering it. So we don't exactly know why, but hopefully if we look at today's puzzle we're actually going to figure out what we're meant to do. Speaking of which, let's get into the rules for today. So, Fogging Dots by Megan 033. We've got the following set of rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. We have the digits in a cage must sum to the number printed in its corner. Tricky to show what that means. So imagine that this is a cage here of these two cells, and the top left corner has the number 10. Essentially, what it's saying then is these two cells must sum up to 10. So if that was a 2, this would have to be an 8, and that would be an absolutely valid pencil mark if everything I just said is actually correct. We can actually see the green German whisper line. So on adjacent digits, a longer green German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. So if this is a 2, for example, these two cells, you can see that this German whisper line is heading off into the fog. There is an adjacent digit. It will be from 7, 8, or 9. And you end up with this pattern of high, low, etc. Although obviously I don't know what they are. Now, the digits do not include the number 5, and I think if I just put a 5 in here, I challenge you to come up with a normal Sudoku digit that is 5 or more away from 5. We also have 2 more rules. First, black Kropke dot. Well, Kropke dots in general, there's black and white. So we have cells with a black dot between them indicate that the cell values are in a 2 to 1 ratio. If that was a 2, for example, you can see that this cell here that's connected by a black dot would have to be 1 or 4. As long as one cell is double the other, you will fulfill the 2 to 1 ratio. Now let's say for the sake of argument that this black dot is white, and white dots between cells indicate they have to be consecutive. If that was a 2, this would have to be 1 or 3, so that they are indeed consecutive with the 2. Not all dots are shown, so if that was indeed a 4 and that is a 5, nothing wrong with that. There is no black dot in here. That is not a problem. Lastly, of course, very visible from the fact that I'm struggling to explain the rule sets, I'm having to sort of imagine a lot of things, is that the grid is partially covered with fog. Whenever you figure out what the digit is, imagine that this is a 2, it will reveal all of the cells surrounding it, and hopefully more clues for us to make a bit more progress. So, hopefully you can help Sleuth solve today's mystery with the link down in the description down below and discover whatever crime has happened hiding in that fog. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So 3 black Kropke dots in a row, in a column, can only be from 1, 2, 4, or 8. The other possible pairs that can be on a black Kropke dot is 3 and 6. But given there's only 2 of them, and there's 3 in here, we know it's from 1, 2, 4, and 8. Since we've got 3 cells, essentially on this black Kropke dot number line, if I select any 3 of them, you'll see it's either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. Obviously you can reverse it, so it can be 8, 4, 2 rather than 2, 4, 8. But the key thing is that the middle digit is always 2 or 4. The other thing that you have to also notice is that there is always a 2 or 4, not 2 or 4, 2 and 4 amongst these 3 cells. Now I'm pretty sure that can't be a 4. I'm even going to actually write it as a large digit, because if that is a 4, that would be a double 9. That's just nonsense. So that's not a 4. 4 is not an option. And the options are 1, 2, 8 here, 1, 2, 4, 8 there, and we're going to have to figure out what that means. So essentially, if that's 1, that would be 2, 4, and then we have tons of options in terms of high digits around it. That seems to work, although if that is the case, the high digit on this side would actually have to be a 6, which on the face of it works because it's 5 or more away from 1. But what do we do about this cell here? We can clearly see the German whisper line does not end at this cell, it continues. So that can't be a 6. And because it cannot be a 6, I'm going to say this cannot be a 1. Let me just make sure I got that correct. Yes, if that's a 1, these two are high digits. Oh, 1, 2, and 4. I can obviously have, sorry, I could have had 8 here. And then a double 4. I don't see a problem with that. 1, 2, and 4. Well, that would be 3. Then that would be a high digit. That would be a... Right, of course. These can't be 3 low digits. Because that would be low. Low, as in high, low. That's 3. That's 4. That 5. This cannot be 1, 2, 4. This is 2, 4, 8. That is... No. Essentially 2, 8, 2, 4, 8. That clearly cannot be an 8 anymore. What can it be? It's 1, 3, or 6. I think 6 is too close to both the 2 and 8. You can see that if it's 2, 6 is only 4 or more away, and obviously if it's 8, 6 is a high digit, it's only 2 away. Now, if it's, it has to be 8 now, because this is a low digit, so that is 8, that is 2. These are now, I'm going to just color them, though it's not necessarily needed. Obviously, this is another 1, 3, in fact. We've got a 1, 3 pair in here because we already used 2 and 4. These are from 6, 7, 9 with a definite 9. Whichever one is the 3, it has to be surrounded by 8 and 9. And then down here, we have 5 or 6 or 7 with a definite 5. Question is whether it's 1 or 3. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I see the restriction here. If it's 1, that looks like 2. If it's 3, that looks like 6. I'm not seeing the issue or the challenge. Maybe the white crop dots that's sort of peeking through the fog. Let's think about what this is. So quite helpfully, we got 2, 4, and 8. So essentially, 1, 2, 3, 4 all don't work. Neither does 8 and 9. So this is made up from 5, 6, 7. One secret about white crop dots is because they have to be consecutive. One has to be an odd digit, one has to be an even digit, and the only even digit that's available is a 6. We've already used 2, 4, and 8. So that means, because there is a 6 between these two cells, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2 again, that's a 3. Remember, the 9 had to be next to the 3, and we're off and racing. I say we're off and racing and then immediately pause. Let's think about what this cell could be. It's not 1, 2, or 8, or 3. It's 4 or 6. If it's 4, well, it can't be a 2. It would have to be an 8. If it's a 6, it has to be a 3. This white crop dot, well, if it's an 8, it can't be a 9, so it'd have to be a 7. And if it's a 3, it can't be a 2. It would have to be a 4. And this is actually surprisingly helpful. Take a look at this 11 cage. So if you think about the pairs that can make up an 11 cage, it's either 2, 9, not available, 3, 8, well, if I put 3 and 8 in here, it will break this cell. The other option is 4, 7, and if I put 4, 7 in here, well, I've broken this cell. So the only option that is available is 5, 6, which looks at this 5, 6, 7. That's a 7. That has to be the 6. That's a 4. We can unwind all of this now and make some progress from here. These are 1, 8, 9. If that's 1, that would have to be 2, 3, breaking the cell. That's not a 1. So my options are 9, 8, 7. 8, I obviously can't climb. I can't go 9, 10. So we still have to descend. It's 8, 7, 6. And it means there is definitely an 8 and there's definitely a 7 amongst these 3 cells. That's not the 7, mind you. Oh, sorry, I had this enabled previously when I was checking something. So check pencil marks off. Thank you. And let's see if we can make more progress from here. You see, the 1 here doesn't help me with the 6, 7. 2 and 4 are both looking at this cell. This is 3, 6. So if you think about sort of, again, that number line, 1, 2, 4, and 8, the black Kropke dot number line, I should say, essentially any pair from this set will always have either a 2 or a 4. 1, 2, 2, 4, using both, or 4, 8. Because this black Kropke dot can actually see both the 2 and the 4, it's neither. It's a 3, 6 pair. If that's a 3, that can't be a 2, so that would have to be 4. If that's a 6, that looks like it, well, that would be a 5, and that would have to be a 7. Interesting. We've got sort of the same setup, kind of, that we had here, with the difference that I can't resolve. Although 3, 6, looking at this cell, that's a 7. These are not 7s anymore. That's a 5, 6 pair. How are we doing for time? 7 minutes 30. This is going surprisingly well. What about this white Kropke dot? We've got 2, 6, and 8, so we know that the 4 is on here. And then the 4 can't be with the 3. It's a 4, 5 pair. That means this is 9, it's 7 and 9, which is helpful because that means that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 6. Doesn't help me resolve the 5, 6 up there, but I'll take it. This is, well, 5 can't be in here. Where is 5 in row 5? It can only be there. This is now 1, 2, 8. Remember, no ace in here. And then to complete this box, it is 3, that's not a 3. I'm going to say 7, 9. And again, that can't be a 7. And these are 1 and 8, I'm going to venture. 5, I've ignored for a very long time. That's a 6, that's a 5. Not that it necessarily helps me make progress. Let's think about what this cell is. It's not 3, 6, it's not 4, 8, it's not 2, 4. It can only be 1 and 2. What are these cells? Is that useful to think about? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, you can see, is not here. It can only be down there. This is another 7, 9 with an 8. That's not 8. Doesn't exactly help me with figuring out where 8 is in here, but that's okay. That's an 8. You see 7 and 9. If this is 9, that has to be 8. If that's 7, well, the adjacent digit can't be a 6. It's still 8. And that's helpful because that removes the 1, 2 option now. I've got a pair. That's an 8. That's not an 8. Only place now for an 8 with this 1, 9 pair is in here. And it's descending. It's 7, 6. That 7 bounces across. Hang on. I didn't fully pencil mark this. That can't be a 7, but it doesn't stop it. I was about to write in a 9 and that would have broken things. That can still be an 8. Okay. In here, it's not 3, 6. It's not 4, 8. It's not 1, 2. That would break this cell. This is 2, 4, which gives me a 5 and a 4, which gives me a 1 and a 2. And this has to be 3 or 9. Obviously, next to the 8, it is a 9. That's a 3. That's not a 3. This needs to be a low digit. It is, in fact, a 1 because it's not 3 or 2, 4. This cannot be a 6. Again, it is 5 or more away, but you can see that German whisper line is indeed heading into the fog where there's another digit in here. So it's not 6, it's not 9, it is 7 or 8. Adjacent to it is not 1 or 2, and that would have had to be, I mean, that 1 gives me 2, gives me 1, gives me 4, gives me 2. And the only low digit that's left in here is a 3, which can only be next to an 8. The 3 has to be an 8, 9 pair, that's a 9. And then the 9 can have whatever it wants, really, but it's not 3, it's not 2, and it's not 1, it's in fact a 4. We've sort of used most of the variant rule sets except for this white Kropke dot, which I think is probably worthwhile taking a look at because it's either 4 or 8. And you can see, we see all even digits on this cell. So the even digits is in here. And it's not 8. It's 2, 6, or 8. That has to be a 4. So this is 3 or 5, and it's not a 3. It's a 5. Not giving me anything else. What else do I need in here? If there is anything to be had, I'm not seeing. I mean, I see that the 9 is at the bottom. So we've got 3, 7, 8, and 9. In fact, 8 and 9 are both here. That's an 8-9 pair. That's a 3-7 pair. That's a 3, which gives me a 7 and a 3. And that's all the variants done. So we're basically down to classic Sudoku, such as Sleuth, just fill in row 8. This is a known digit. Can only be a 6. We need a 3 somewhere. It's not these two cells, just classic Sudoku. That's a 3. These are 5 and 7. Not seeing anything that's interrupting it. Getting in here, I need a 1 and 5, 7 in there. That's not helpful. There must be more useful things. 7 looks quite restricted. 7 is in none of these cells. No, I'm not seeing it. How about column 5? We need 1, 5, and 9. And you can see the 9 is clearly not down here. Because of this 9, that's the 9. That is not the 1, that's a 5, that's a 1. That 5 gives me a 7 in here, a 5 there. Only place left for a 7 is there. These are 2 and something, 6. That 2 tells me that's the 2, that's the 6, that's the 5, that's the 6. In here I need 1 and... why am I not seeing it? 1 and 5? These two are 3 and 8. I haven't solved these. Have I just kind of like Sudoku blindness striking? Is there a solution here that I'm not seeing? Yeah, 7, 9, 7, 1, 9, 7, 8, 1, 8, 9. No 9, that is 8. No 8 or 9, that's 7. That 8 gives me 3 and 8. That's much better now. That gives me a 9 in here. Then in there I need 2 and 3. That 3 tells me the order. That's 3, that's 2. In here I need 1 and... no, 1 and 4. I don't know the order of these. I need a 2. No, 2 is in here. This cell hopefully will resolve everything. That's a 5, 5. I can type 1, 5, 1, 4. The 4 will be in here, and if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 9. So yeah, that, like, I checked this number of souls before I started recording, and it was quite high. It was like, as you can see now, 900. So it's a lovely puzzle, Megan. I mean, we've featured a few puzzles from you recently, and they're all been just absolutely phenomenal. Now, what struck me, though, is that even though 900 solves, what I recently started to do is just to check if any of the other Sudoku channels have actually completed this puzzle. And neither CTC nor Bremstar, nor, to my knowledge, anybody else has sort of solved this. So it just looks like it's a really popular puzzle on Logic Masters Germany. So I can understand why. It is a lovely puzzle. It's got a good flow to it, and it's highly approachable. A good way of concluding our weekend puzzles. And I think, like, whenever I feature a 3-star difficulty rated puzzle, I almost feel like I owe you guys something that's a bit more approachable, such as this one. Hope that you enjoyed the puzzle. Hope that you had a great weekend. And take a look at what other Fog puzzles YouTube's going to recommend to you next. Bye-bye for now.